Hi, Astro Star family. Welcome to Scheduling Fate, the Moon's Gateway. Now, this is a brand new show, so I just wanted to take a few minutes to let you know what we'll be doing here. Now, what the show focuses on is where the moon is in the sky and the conversations it's having, but most especially the void moon, of course, is. Now, a void moon, of course, is when the moon goes from one sign to the other. There's no conversations, it's very quiet, it's reflective. We don't want to take action during this period of time because actions taken during a void moon, of course, will bear no fruit. So that's something to keep in mind. But to add to this, the first conversation the moon has when it walks into the door of a new sign, and the last conversation, these are opening and closing aspects, gives us the tone of what we'll be working with across those few days. All important things that will help you schedule your fates and follow the moon through the gateways of the zodiac. All right, with that being said, let's dive into this week. We're going to take a look at February 25th through March 2nd. Can you believe that it's already March? All right, so as we step into the 25th, we're still coming off that full moon vibe. Energies and emotions could still feel heightened, but I think that you're going to be in a mood to process under this Virgo moon to really work with out of the box ideas as you wrap up the weekend. Now, on the 26th, early in the morning, 1:35 a.m. Central, the closing aspect, the way this full moon story is going to end is with an opposition to Neptune. So you may not have all the answers, but you're in a position to dream or to drift toward what you feel is going to be aligned with you. We do have a relatively long void moon, of course, 6 hours and 54 minutes. That'll happen at 1:35 a.m. Central. It will end when the moon moves into Libra at 8:29 a.m. Now, the first conversation, the opening door to this, how we're going to feel for the next couple of days, is the moon in trine with Pluto. Now, this is important to notice because later in the week, there'll be a square. It'll be a little bit hard. But right now, early on in the week, you're willing to work with transformation. You're willing to work with the power struggles. And as you move through those next couple of days, though, we have some big energy like Mars squaring Jupiter. You are in flow with this new story. You are like, okay, let's find harmony. Let's find balance, a true Libra energy. Now, at 12:21 p.m. Central Time Zone, the moon will enter an extremely long void moon, of course, of 32 hours and 48 minutes. So when we have long periods of void moons and we also have other transits and conversations going on in the sky, it could be a little bit disoriented because you're going to feel the need to take action, but the moon is saying, wait, listen more than you speak, absorb everything around you, and then let's take a step forward. Now, the first conversation that the moon will have when it moves out of void on the 28th at 9:09 p.m., when the moon moves into Scorpio, will be a square to Pluto. So remember, we had a trine on Monday. Now we have a square. So it's kind of like, yeah, on Monday, I like that idea. I think we can harmonize with that. But today you're like, well, what action does that have to take? How do I really feel about this power struggle? So the opening aspect of the moon in Scorpio is a bit challenging. But on the 29th, there is more harmony than distress. There is still a little bit of challenge around actions that you'll deal with on the 29th. This same flowing energy will move into the first. We're still going to be under a Scorpio moon. However, the first isn't all that loud. There is the moon opposite Uranus. So you could feel like there's this crazy new idea just across the way and you're not sure how you can approach it. On the second, early in the morning, 1:47, the closing aspect, how the story ends. Remember, the Scorpio story began with a square to Pluto. It's going to end with a trine in Neptune. So earlier in the week, you ended with an opposition in Neptune. You weren't really sure about the dream, but now as you go into the weekend, you're in flow with it. You have this creative space. You're like, okay, well, maybe we can do this. I think that this idea might work out. So the week does have a bit of a flip-flop. And we'll enter in a void moon, of course, at 1:47 a.m. Moon trine Neptune, last aspect. The void, of course, will last 6 hours and 9 minutes. We'll have the moon move into Sagittarius at 7:56 a.m. And the first conversation that the moon has is in sextile with Pluto. So overall this week, you are going from a detailed oriented energy to a balanced, harmonizing energy to going deep and asking yourself, is this what I want to do? What's the transformational power around it? And then as we end the week, you're looking at the wide scope. What is your truth and how do you want to do that? All right, now that we know this, let's take a look at your rising signs so we can see what areas of your life this will impact you the most this week. All right, so let's take a look at how this is going to impact all of the rising signs. Now, if you are an Aries sign, you're coming off of a great full moon around your sixth house. It's had to do with your habits, your overall health and wealth. As you go into Sunday, you're still trying to harmonize and balance what can I do about this, but the first part of the week when the moon is in Libra, it's going to be important to lean on your partnerships. This is going to be a good time to connect with your community, one-on-one with others, but also big groups, and ask yourself, okay, well, if we need to make this change, how do we need to do it? You may not have all the answers, but you're going to feel better about it. Now, at the end of this, we do have a bit of a long void moon, about 6 hours as the moon moves into Scorpio. And this is where it's going to get a little bit intense for you because this has to do with other people's money, transformation, loans. What do I have to end in order to begin something? It could really flow into your something that has to do with your actual home or a spiritual level. And by the end of this period, I think you're going to be looking at a new horizon. And this new horizon is going to be connected to your passion and something that has to do with your individuality. So this week, I encourage you to really lean on your partnerships. And when you are invited to go into a transformation, take that opportunity. I think you'll find a lot of success with it. All right. So if you are a Taurus or a Taurus rising, you are coming off of a beautiful full moon around your passions, what you love without condition, people, places, and things. You're still settling in with that as we get into the week on Sunday. You're looking at out of the box ideas. You're not really sure how that's going to work out for you. But the first couple of days of the week, when you get into your habits, what you do day in and day out, especially topics around the money you earn, the work you do, your overall health and wealth, you're going to find some ways to harmonize, some suggestions about, well, maybe I can work with this in this way. It could feel a little edgy at times, but overall, you are seeking harmony when it comes to your day to day routines. Now, once the moon moves into Scorpio, it is going to be about partnerships, you and another person, but this flows into your local community and, of course, your overall network and group. And this is where you're going to find a little bit of edge and tension. It's kind of like, well, if I do this, I have to work with someone else. And that's a little bit more challenging because you're setting your ways, they're setting their ways. So, though it starts out a little bit edgy, it will end with the type of harmony that you were seeking a couple of days before. And by the end of the week, you're moving towards, I'm going to make this commitment or I'm going to go through this transformation. I'm going to have the patience that I need for this. All right. So, if you are a Gemini rising, you're coming off a huge full moon at your fourth house, which is foundational, something close to your home, but it flowed in your home work life balance, your individuality, and your partnerships. And you're sitting with those revelations as you come out of the weekend. But you're also looking at the possibilities, the breakthroughs that came into your life. And as you move through the first part of the week, when it comes to things that you love without condition, people, places, and things, and children, you are excited to harmonize, to find some kind of balance. You may not have all the answers, but you feel like you are going in the right direction. Some of that tension can be when the moon moves into Scorpio and you try to incorporate these changes. It may be that there's details that you didn't know were there, or there could be some trust issues when it comes to your overall health and wealth. Who can you trust? Who can you have shoulder to shoulder? But as you move through this week, you're going to feel better about this story at the end of it than you did at the beginning of it. And by the time we end this week, you're going to be looking at partnerships, you and someone else, and how you can look at the new horizon and take in some new ideas and suggestions. All right, so if you are a Cancer rising, you just had a huge full moon in your third house. This brought in a lot of communication issues, things with partners, new directions, the network that you're a part of. And you're sort of looking at the possibilities on Sunday as we step into this week. Well, what if I did it that way? What do I need to release in order to go forward? As we step into the week, something on a foundational level, probably close to your actual home, is going to be on your mind. You're thinking, okay, well, this is how I need to harmonize this. If I'm going to end this and begin this, this is how I should probably do it. You're trying to find the best solution for it. You may not have all the answers before the moon moves, but you have some good ideas. Now, the next step could be a little bit challenging at times. It is in a fellow water sign. The moon is going to be in Scorpio. That is in trine with your rising sign. But this makes you go a little bit deeper to feel the feels and bring in, okay, well, this is the emotion behind this. This is what it's going to really look like on the other side. The story is going to feel edgy as it begins, but it will feel better as you end it, as you get ready to get to the end of the week. And by then, you're going to find the habits or the rituals that you need to go off and go in this new direction and say, yep, I need to let go of this. I need to bring this in. And I'm going to be so happy once I get through this emotional step that I'm on. All right. If you are a Leo rising, you're coming off of a great full moon in your second house, a lot of abundance around your overall health and wealth and what's important to you. You're probably still working out the details. You have some ideas, but you're not really sure how they're going to work out, especially when it comes to your overall career, your reputation. But as we move into the first part of the week, you maybe will have some conversations with people that you speak to every day, run through some ideas, and you're going to get some great suggestions. You may not have all the answers, but you're going to be a lot closer. Now, towards the end of the week, when the moon moves into Scorpio, this is going to be a pivotal point in your chart because it highlights something on an angle. So home, work, life balance, your individuality, your partnerships. There's going to be a bit of intensity there that's going to ask you to go deeper than trying to harmonize. Like, what is underneath the compromise and what does that mean for me? And that's going to feel edgy at first, but as you come out of this very personal conversation, probably with people who are really close to you, you're going to feel better about it. And as we end this week, you're going to be looking at that new horizon. You have a lot of suggestions and ideas, and probably a lot of creative juices that you can pull from. All right. So if you are a Virgo rising, you just had a full moon in your sign, you're probably feeling a lot of that abundant energy, looking at where can I go from here? As we kick off this weekend, where do I go from here? What does that new direction look like? Could be a little bit challenging for you. Just keep processing. What do you need to end? What do you need to begin? The first part of the week, you may find that you're assessing your earning power, your values, your skill set. If you're well compensated, how can you harmonize? Ask for what you deserve and ensure that you are getting what you deserve from those who compensate you or build your resources. You may not have all the answers. It may feel like you are so far away by the time the story ends, but at least you have an idea of where you're going. At the latter part of the week, we do have a moon in Scorpio. And this could bring up a little bit of tension around your local environment, who you communicate with day in and day out. There could be some questions about structures or systems or boundaries that come to the forefront. It'll be hard to not communicate the tension, but I encourage you to listen more than you speak, because though it feels edgy and tense at the beginning, by the end of the moon leaving Scorpio at the end of the week, you're going to feel better about it. When you get home, when you get back to your home base and you're around people that you love and you trust, you're going to get some ideas and suggestions about how you can really launch forward in a new positive way. All right, if you are a Libra or a Libra rising, you just had a big full moon in a very private sector of your life, behind the scenes, mind, body balance, endings and beginnings. And you're still trying to process a little bit of that as we work through the first day of this week on Sunday. But I think you're looking at some ideas about how you can go through transformations, maybe some out of the box ideas, something you haven't tried before, and you're feeling a little bit hopeful. And as you move into Monday, the moon will be in your sign Libra. So attracting or thinking about, this is me, this is my brand, this is how I want to be known in the world, this is how it fits into my foundations and my partnerships. And I want to harmonize. So you're going to look for ways to harmonize. You may not have all the answers by the end of this time that the moon is in your sign. You're going to be a lot closer than you were when you started. Now, once the moon moves into Scorpio, this is a bit of a hidden house for you. You're not going to feel the motivation or the drive, but you're going to want to look a little bit deeper than the agreements that you made. There's a little bit of back and forth energy here. I encourage you to listen more than you speak. You're going to find that people reveal truths the more quieter that you are. The story will start off edgy, especially around resources and finances, but it will finish in a more positive space by the time we get to the end of the week and the moon gets ready to go into Sagittarius. At this point, allies, friends, people you speak to every day, or just your habits alone are probably going to give you some good suggestions about how you can work with transformation, how you can partner on a deeper level and find your personal power when it comes to things that you're passionate about, that you're very creative with. All right, have a good one. Now, if you are a Scorpio or Scorpio rising, this week you just came off of a big full moon in your 11th house. This is your social circle, people, places, and things that you communicate with day in and day out. And you're trying to process and ask yourself, okay, are these my alliances? Which ones do I need to let go of? Which ones do I need to bring in closer? And you're not clear on what that answer is, but you have some good ideas. And you're looking over there at that quirky connection or that odd out of the box friend saying, maybe you and I could really partner up and go somewhere. Hold on to that idea. As the moon moves into Libra, it's going to be about endings and beginnings. How can we harmonize and ensure that both of these are supported in a healthy way? That you're going to approach this more so on an emotional level, but definitely pay attention to this, because this is where we're going to have eclipses in the spring and in the fall. It is about, this is ready to end and this is ready to begin. This is a great time to be reflective, and I think it'll give you a lot of energy to get through some of the more challenging parts of the week, because when the moon moves into Scorpio, the first impression, the first energy that we feel when it moves into your sign is a little bit edgy. You like edge. You don't mind the intensity. You're fine with it. But we want to ensure that we're listening more than we speak over the next couple of days, because by the time you get to the end of this story, it's going to look different and you're going to feel better about whatever this situation is. And at the very end of the week, when the moon moves into Sagittarius, you're going to have a lot of great ideas about these partnerships that you're trying to build, these breakthroughs that you're working on. So have a little bit of patience. We don't want to start anything. We want to make sure that we're wrapping up things. We're getting ready to let go of things that aren't serving us on the path as we go forward. All right. If you have a Sagittarius rising, you just had a huge full moon around your career, your overall health and wealth, still trying to process some things there. Over the weekend, as we move into this week on Sunday, you're like, okay, well, maybe I can try this new habit, do something different. You're really thinking out of the box, some creative ideas. I encourage you to hold on to that. Now, when we move into Monday and Tuesday, you are going to be looking at your allies, people that you trust, or people who are like-minded on the same path, and you're looking for a way to harmonize with them. And I think you're going to have a lot of great ideas, but by the end of it, You're not going to be sure where you stand, at least one on one with other people, but hold that thought. As the moon moves into Scorpio, this is a time for you to reflect and process and ask yourself what needs to end, what needs to begin, who do I trust? And overall, you should really trust yourself, ensure that it sits right with your soul, that it aligns with your truth and your wisdom. And it'll be a little bit edgy at first. You may have to follow some triggers to find the treasure, but by the end of this week, when the moon leaves Scorpio, you're going to be in a better place. You're going to be clearer about things that you need to process and end. And when the moon moves into your sign, you're going to be open to suggestions and ideas about how you can make some powerful changes in your life. All right. If you are a Capricorn rising, you just had a huge full moon in your ninth house, something about publishing, new directions. How do I express myself? And on Sunday, you're still processing that, but you are looking at a lot of exciting out of the box creative ideas that are motivating you, that are giving you some foresight on what is to come as we get closer to the spring. Now, with the moon in Libra on Monday and Tuesday, your focus is going to be on your career, your reputation, how people know you in the world. And you're looking for harmony, you're looking for partnerships. And you start out with the best of intentions, but when it comes to the end before the moon leaves Libra, you may not know exactly where you stand with you and whatever partnerships you're trying to make, but have patience because remember, right now, what we're trying to do is release things. We just got off of a full moon. We're letting go of things and getting ready to seed new things when we have the new moon in just a bit. Now, when the moon moves into Scorpio, there's going to be a little bit of social edge. And I say social edge because Scorpio is in flow with your network, people that you're connected with, but also your one-to-one partnerships and your local environment. And there's a little bit of distrust or, well, you didn't really give me a clear answer. I'm not sure how I feel about this as you step into the midweek. But by the end of the week, listening more than you speak, trying to wrap things up instead of launch things is going to leave you in a better spot because the moon will end Scorpio with a better story. And once the moon moves into Sagittarius, that's an area of your chart that's all about endings and beginnings. You're going to have some great ideas about how you can proceed forward with whatever negotiations you've been working on. All right, if you are an Aquarius rising, you just had a huge full moon in your eighth house. This is transformation, other people's money. This is metaphysical endings and beginnings, and you're still trying to process what needs to end and what needs to begin. That's going to be a theme over the next couple of weeks. But I think you're looking at some out of the box ideas, trying to maybe break the norms when it comes to your home work life balance. Try something that you haven't tried before. And for you, that could be something that's extraordinarily ordinary because you do tend to lean towards the extraordinary. Listen to those kind of fun ideas that come in on Sunday. On Monday and Tuesday, when the moon moves into Libra, your focus is going to be on new horizons and new directions, learning, teaching, publishing your convictions, finding ways to find a personal justice or a law or a peace, something that makes you feel like you're a part of something, but still growing in a new direction. You're going to have a great beginning here, but you may not be very clear on who you're partnering with as the moon leaves Libra. But hold on to that curiosity because what you're working through is what needs to end and what needs to begin. Now, once the moon moves into Scorpio, that first impression is going to be a little bit edgy. So these are going to be topics around your reputation, authority figures, your overall health and wealth, home work life balance. You could be tense. It's a good time to have patience with people you really care about, to think before you speak, to watch where all the pieces land. Because by the time the moon leaves Scorpio, you're going to be in a different position. You're going to feel more comfortable with whatever came up during these couple of days. And by the end of the week, when the moon moves into Sagittarius, you're going to be ready to compromise, listen to some ideas, and network and connect with people who are of like mind that you feel comfortable around. All right, if you are a Pisces rising, you just came off of a huge full moon around your seventh house. This is partnerships, you and another person, but also your network, people that you are associated with. And as we step into Sunday, you're sort of looking at your daily environment, people that you appreciate. You're saying, you know what, maybe if I tried it this way. You're thinking about things in a different way. You're in flow with the possibility of change. I encourage you to lean into that, look at those suggestions and those ideas. As we move into Monday and Tuesday, your focus is going to move towards something more private. This would have to do with a deep, intimate relationship, a transformation that you're going through on a personal level. Topics of loans, grants, other people's money could come up as well. You're looking for a way to harmonize, to earn your keep in a way. And though you're willing to do this and you have the best intentions, by the time the moon leaves Libra, you may not have the answers you need, but at least you know where you stand. And that may be that you stand here and they stand there. But keep that in mind because we're processing, we're letting go of things that no longer serve us. And these are all indicators of what that might be that you need to let go of so there's room for other things to come in. Now, when the moon moves into Scorpio, It may be a little bit edgy. You may not be clear on what this new horizon looks like or what it's going to invite you to do. That could bring in some tension, some confusion. But the moon is in a fellow water sign. It's in trine with your sun. So overall, I don't think it's going to take you too off guard or pull you too deep underwater. But stay curious. By the time the moon leaves Scorpio in a few days, whatever the story is that's connected to your passion, your brand, and new directions, you're going to feel a lot better about it. You're going to have a lot more clarity. And as we end the week, the moon will be in Sagittarius. This is going to start to amplify and light up your reputation, how you're known in the world and authority figures. And there's going to be a lot of great suggestions that you can work with that flood in from this area of your life. All right, that is all the signs. I hope this overview of what the moon's doing, its opening and closing aspects, when the voids are, help you schedule your fate. I will see you next time.